Welcome, everybody. As you're getting settled, please take the one question poll, which is how do you feel about using Excel? I know for many people, using Excel spreadsheets can be intimidating or tedious. So, the goal of today's training is to make this as painless as possible. Okay, it looks like everyone completed the poll, so let's take a look at your responses. So the good news is most of you indicated while you're not comfortable with using Excel, you're willing to learn. So that is great. Three people would rather have a root canal. I'm not really surprised to see that response. And one person's pretty comfortable with it. Okay, so it looks like most of you are on the same level, not too comfortable, but willing to learn. So awesome. The title of today's training is An Introduction to Tracking Expenses in Excel. I find Excel to be really useful. I'm the head of my department, so I have a spreadsheet where I track our expenses just to make sure that we do not go over budget. As another example, recently my department decided we would all get the same t-shirt. And so I had a spreadsheet where I could keep track of which size each person wanted, and then I could indicate when each person had paid. I also use Excel in my personal life. I track my own expenses, and then at each end of each month, I can analyze my expenses to see, where am I spending my money? Am I spending too much money at Starbucks a given month, for example? So I just think Excel is really useful. So I hope that you can see the utility of it today as well. So welcome to this training. I'm Cynthia, and I'm a trainer and implementation specialist. I'm probably one of those really unusual people that really likes Excel, and I like helping people learn to use Excel as well. Before we get started, please introduce yourself in the chat, and you could indicate how you're feeling today or how you answered the poll question. It looks like a lot of people are feeling the Monday. So hopefully, once we get into the training, maybe you'll perk up a little bit. Jasmine and David indicated they would rather have a root canal. So challenge accepted. I do really hope that by the end of this, you feel more comfortable with using Excel and would rather do Excel than have a root canal. So what will you learn today? First, you will learn to use the sum function to total expenses in each category. Then you will learn to create an equation to track the amount of money remaining in a budget. And finally, you will learn to use the filter and sort functions to sort of filter your data and analyze your data. So let's get started. I put a link to an Excel file in the chat. Please download that and save it to your laptop. And when you've done that, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, looks like you all have it. I'm going to open the same file. The pre-training survey you all took, you indicated that you were comfortable with labeling categories and entering expense data. So we're just gonna skip that, and I'm giving us a spreadsheet that's partially filled out. But if you have questions at any time, please feel free to unmute or put a question in the chat. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the sum function to total expenses in each category. So let's start with parking. So I'm going to click on the cell. This is where our total is going to end up. So we want to enter an equation. So it's just simply equals SUM, open parentheses. And now I need to choose the expenses to total. So I'm going to highlight those four expenses in the parking category. And then I'm just going to click enter or return. And we see it totals for us. Let's do that again for the other expenses category. So it's equals SUM, open parentheses, select the numbers, hit enter or return, and it totals it for us. So I could do that for the next three columns, but actually an easier way to do that is I'm going to highlight the cell I just totaled, bring my cursor to the lower right. You see it becomes a plus sign. I'm going to click, drag it over the three remaining columns, and then let go, and it's totaled everything for me. So it's much faster to do it this way. Okay, how are we doing? Give me a thumbs up if you were able to total the expenses in all the categories on your own spreadsheet. Okay, looks good. Great. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do a grand total for all of our expenses. So let's create a new column and let's call that category total expenditures. Okay, looks like I'm gonna just widen this column to make it fit. I'm going to put that total in line with my column totals. So it's just like what we've been doing. So it's equals SUM, open parentheses. Now I'm going to highlight all of my column totals. And now I have a grand total for all the expenses. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. I just want to check in. How are things going? If you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself or put a question in the chat. Looks like Sophia has a question. She's asking, once we have totaled a given category, if she needed to add more expenses in, how could she do that? You could easily just insert rows into your spreadsheet and add in your expense data, and then it'll automatically be included in that total. Great question. Okay, let's head back into our Excel spreadsheet. And now we're going to learn to create an equation to determine how much money is left in your budget. Okay, so now we have tackled all 3 topics in our training today. So I've opened a poll. So please take the poll, just so I can see how well you learned the 3 topics today. There's also a 4th question, which you can put in any questions that you still have about this training. I'll be sure to review this before our next training.